There are moments in life when the universe whispers to you, when the silence around you becomes louder than any noise. And in that silence, God is preparing something greater than you ever imagined. But before the blessing arrives, there are signs, subtle yet powerful, and if you do not recognize them, you may mistake divine preparation for struggle, confusion, or even loss. When God is about to bless a woman with something big, her life does not remain the same. Things begin to shift. The ground beneath her feels uncertain, people around her may change, and challenges may arise that seem overwhelming. But these are not punishments. They are signals. They are the hidden messages of transformation. Today, I want to guide you through these 7 signs, because if you can recognize them, you will not fear the storm. You will understand that the storm itself is a messenger. The blessing is already on its way, and these signs are the proof. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to share may be the reason you stop doubting yourself and start preparing for the miracle that is coming into your life. Separation always comes before elevation, and this is one of the most misunderstood truths in life. When God is about to bless you with something greater, the first thing He often does is remove people, places, or situations that no longer serve the path you are about to walk. Separation does not always feel like a blessing in the moment. In fact, it can feel like betrayal, heartbreak, loneliness, or even failure. But in reality, separation is a divine strategy. It is a process of cleansing, a way of making space for the new blessing that is on its way. If you continue to hold on to everything and everyone from the past, you cannot step into what God is preparing for your future. Think about it like this. When a tree grows taller, it naturally sheds some of its leaves, not because the leaves were useless, but because growth demands release. In the same way, when you are being elevated, some people will simply fall away from your life. It is not because they were all bad, but because they are not meant to accompany you into the next season. Their chapter in your story has ended, and clinging to them only slows your ascent. It is in the letting go that you create space for what is new. The truth is, elevation requires lightness. You cannot climb carrying unnecessary weight. Often, separation begins subtly. Maybe you feel distant from certain friends you used to connect with easily. Maybe conversations that once felt natural now feel forced. Or maybe you notice that certain environments, whether social or professional, begin to feel heavy and draining. This is not coincidence. This is the spiritual shift happening inside you. You are being prepared for something greater, and because of that, your energy no longer aligns with the old patterns. God is moving you even before you consciously realize it. This disconnection is a sign that your spirit is already ahead of your circumstances, and the separation is simply aligning everything else to match your growth. But separation can also come suddenly and painfully. Sometimes people walk away without explanation. Sometimes you lose a job you thought was secure. Sometimes relationships collapse without warning. In those moments, the first reaction is often confusion. You ask, why now? Why me? Why did this have to end? The human heart resists endings because it clings to the familiar, even when the familiar no longer serves the soul. But what feels like rejection is often protection. What feels like loss is sometimes the removal of something that would have blocked your blessing. God does not take away without reason. If something is removed, it is only because He is about to replace it with something better suited for where you are going. Understand this clearly. Separation is not about punishment. It is about preparation. Think about an eagle teaching its young to fly. The mother eagle pushes the eaglet out of the nest. To the eaglet, this feels cruel. The ground rushes up, fear takes over, and the instinct is to cling to the nest. But in the very act of falling, the wings are discovered. Without being forced out, the eaglet would never learn to fly. In the same way, separation pushes you out of your comfort zone so you can spread your wings. If you were allowed to remain where you are, you would never discover the strength and capacity that elevation requires. When you face separation, resist the urge to run back to what feels safe. Many people miss their blessing because they go back to the people and situations that God has already removed from their lives. They mistake loneliness for abandonment, when in fact it is space for growth. they confuse endings with failure, when in truth it is the beginning of a greater chapter. To embrace separation is to trust that God sees what you cannot yet see. He knows the doors He is about to open, the opportunities that are being arranged, and the people He is preparing to walk with you in your next season. Trusting separation is trusting His vision beyond your sight. Sometimes the hardest part of separation is the silence that follows. The nights feel longer, the days feel empty, and you may wonder if you made a mistake or if you are truly alone. But elevation is often born in silence. This is where your inner strength is tested and refined. This is where you learn to hear your own voice, to rely on your own spirit, and to connect deeper with the divine. If you rush to fill the silence with noise, you risk missing the lessons that separation was meant to teach you. But if you endure, if you lean into the solitude, you will find clarity that you never had before. You will realize that separation was not taking something from you. It was giving you back to yourself. And when the blessing finally arrives, you will look back and see why separation was necessary. You will realize that the relationships that ended were not strong enough to hold the weight of your elevation. You will understand that the closed doors protected you from distractions and detours. You will see that the silence gave you strength and wisdom to handle the blessing when it came. What once felt like loss will reveal itself as gain. What once felt like endings will be seen as beginnings. Separation was not the destruction of your life. It was the foundation for your elevation. So when God begins to separate you, do not fight it. Do not cling to what is falling away. Trust that the higher you are called to go, the lighter you must become. Trust that every ending is making room for a greater beginning. Trust that separation is the sign that elevation is near. It may hurt now, but soon you will see that the pain of letting go was nothing compared to the joy of rising higher. Discomfort signals transformation, and yet most people run from it. We are conditioned to believe that comfort is the goal of life, that if everything feels easy, smooth, and predictable, then we are on the right path. But the truth is, when God is preparing to bless you with something greater, He will not allow you to stay in comfort. Comfort creates stagnation. It keeps you tied to what is familiar, even if it is no longer serving your growth. Discomfort, on the other hand, shakes you, stretches you, and forces you into places where transformation can occur. It is the fire that forges strength, the pressure that creates diamonds, the storm that awakens the hidden power inside of you. Think back to every season of growth in your life. Did it happen when everything was easy? Or did it happen when you were challenged, tested, and even broken? Growth never happens in ease, it happens in struggle. A seed cannot become a tree without breaking through the soil, and that breaking is not comfortable. A caterpillar cannot become a butterfly without the pressure of the cocoon, and that process is not gentle. A child cannot be born without labor, and labor is one of the most painful experiences known to humanity. The message is clear: discomfort is not your enemy, it is your teacher. It is the signal that something is changing, that you are being prepared for something you have not yet seen. When discomfort enters your life, it may come in many forms. It might be the stress of losing something familiar, whether that's a job, a relationship, or a sense of stability. It might be the tension of being pushed into new responsibilities that feel overwhelming. It might be the deep, restless unease in your spirit that whispers, "There is more for you than this." And in those moments, your natural instinct is to resist. You want to hold on to what feels safe, to avoid the pain, to escape the weight of the challenge. But if you only run from discomfort, you will also run from transformation. You will miss the blessing hidden inside the very thing that feels so heavy right now. Discomfort is the tool God uses to strip away what no longer belongs. It reveals your limitations so you can rise beyond them. It exposes your fears so you can conquer them. It brings to the surface the weaknesses that you would otherwise ignore, so you can develop strength in the very areas you once avoided. This is why the moments that feel most unbearable are often the moments of your greatest preparation. You are being reshaped, refined, and redefined. You are being prepared to carry blessings of greater weight, responsibility, and impact. Without discomfort, you would remain the same. With it, you are transformed into the version of yourself capable of walking in your next level. The mistake many people make is interpreting discomfort as a sign that they are on the wrong path. They assume that if things are hard, they must have made a mistake. But the reality is often the opposite. When things become uncomfortable, it usually means you are being shifted out of what is small into what is big. It means you are no longer allowed to stay where you were. It means God is refusing to let you settle for less than you deserve. If life feels heavy right now, do not take it as a sign of failure. Take it as a sign of transformation. You are being stretched because you are being prepared to receive something beyond your current capacity. Imagine a vessel being expanded. At first, it holds enough for the season it is in. But when a greater blessing is on the way, the vessel must be stretched. The stretching feels painful, but without it, the blessing would overflow and be lost. Discomfort is that stretching. It is your soul being expanded so that it can hold the greatness coming your way. Without the discomfort, you would not be ready to carry it. What you are experiencing now is not punishment. It is enlargement. You are not being destroyed, you are being prepared. In these moments, faith is crucial. Faith reminds you that discomfort is temporary but transformation is permanent. Faith whispers that the storm will pass, but when it does, you will not be the same person who entered it. Faith helps you see beyond the pain of today into the purpose of tomorrow. When you trust God through discomfort, you learn to walk with resilience, courage, and unshakable confidence. You no longer see pain as an obstacle, you see it as part of the path. And when you embrace it, you discover strength and wisdom you never knew were within you. One day, you will look back at the season of discomfort and realize it was the turning point of your life. You will see that the very pain you wanted to escape was the pain that gave birth to your strength. You will understand that the unease you resisted was the doorway to your breakthrough. You will recognize that the fire did not burn you, it refined you. And what once felt unbearable will be the very thing that proves how strong, capable, and chosen you truly are. So if you feel discomfort now, do not run from it. Sit with it, learn from it, allow it to shape you. Because discomfort is not the end, it is the sign of transformation. It is proof that God is preparing you for something greater. And when the blessing finally arrives, you will not only be ready for it, you will understand why the journey had to feel the way it did. Old doors must close before new ones open. And this is one of the most challenging lessons to accept when God is preparing to bless you. As human beings, we like continuity. We like to carry the old into the new, to drag yesterday's relationships, yesterday's habits, yesterday's opportunities into tomorrow. But life does not work that way. Every new season requires endings. Every blessing demands space. Every elevation requires that something be left behind. You cannot walk through a new door if you are still holding on to the handle of the old one. There is a reason why endings often feel painful. It is because the heart is attached to what it knows. Even when what you know is not serving you anymore, even when the season has already expired, there is comfort in familiarity. You tell yourself, at least I know what this is, and you cling to it, even if deep inside, you know it is time to let go. But God, in His wisdom, will sometimes close doors for you that you would never have the courage to close yourself. He knows that if He allows you to keep them open, you will remain stuck in cycles that no longer lead anywhere. So He closes them, even when it breaks your heart, because He sees the door ahead that you cannot yet imagine. Think about how a hallway works. You cannot enter the next room if you refuse to leave the one you are in. You must step out, allow the door to close behind you, and only then can you move into the new space waiting for you. Life is the same. Closed doors are not the end of your story. They are the necessary passageways to your next chapter. When a door closes, it is not rejection, it is redirection. It is God's way of saying, this path has finished. Trust me, because a better one is ahead. Sometimes old doors close quietly. People fade from your life without conflict. Opportunities simply stop flowing. A season of comfort naturally comes to an end. And at other times, old doors slam shut abruptly. A relationship ends with pain. A job is taken away without warning. A dream you were pursuing collapses unexpectedly. Both ways feel difficult, but both are necessary. Whether the ending comes gently or harshly, the message is the same. The door you are trying to walk through is no longer meant for you. To keep forcing it open is to fight against the very blessing you are praying for. What many do not realize is that God closes doors out of protection. He sees what is ahead. He knows the hidden dangers, the unseen consequences, and the weight that certain paths would bring. He knows the people who cannot be trusted to walk with you in your next season. He knows the opportunities that look good on the surface but would ultimately distract or destroy you. From your perspective, it feels like loss. From His perspective, it is preservation. When a door closes, it is not that something has been taken away. It is that something greater is being reserved for you. This is why trust is so important. When you face closed doors, you must resist the urge to chase what has ended. Too many people spend their energy trying to force back what God has already removed. They knock on doors that will never open again. They beg people to return who have already fulfilled their role in their story. They cry over opportunities that were never meant to carry them into the future. But the more you cling to what has ended, the longer you delay what is waiting, the sooner you release the old door, the sooner the new one will be revealed. There is a peace that comes when you learn to say, if this door closed, it was not mine to keep. If this chapter ended, it was not meant to continue. If this person left, they were not part of my future. That peace allows you to walk forward without bitterness, without resentment, without regret. It allows you to embrace endings as beginnings in disguise. It teaches you that every no leads to a greater yes. Every loss prepares you for a deeper gain. And every closed door clears the path for one that opens wider. And when the new door finally appears, you will understand why the old one had to close. You will see that the relationships that ended made room for healthier, more supportive ones. You will realize that the job you lost cleared the way for opportunities that better aligned with your gifts and your purpose. You will recognize that the dreams that failed redirected you toward dreams that were even more fulfilling and impactful. Looking back, you will not mourn the closed doors, you will thank God for them. So if you are standing before a closed door now, do not despair. It is not the end, it is transition. It is the proof that God is moving you, not abandoning you. It is the sign that the chapter has served its purpose and a new one is ready to begin. Trust the closure. Trust the silence. Trust the endings. Because old doors must close before new ones open, and if you can accept that truth, you will never fear loss again. Instead, you will see it as a sacred invitation to step into something far greater than you have ever known.